Hello, I am Dr. Iz, an internal medicine physician. I'm driven by one single mission: to protect and elevate human health. My goal is to help people prevent diseases, not just the absence of illness, but a complete state of physical and mental well-being. Because of this, I constantly strive to find the most natural and effective ways to shield and empower our bodies. I want to walk alongside you to shift how we look at proactive daily healthcare. Helping someone live a longer, happier life is truly the greatest honor for me as a medical professional. Every single day, to discovering the best health solutions for the community. I sincerely hope that I share becomes a helpful companion on your journey to taking care of your body. Let us work together to build a strong foundation for your future health, starting from the smallest daily habits. Thank you for listening, and let us move toward a long, energetic, and thriving life together.
Right now, while you sit and listen to this, something is quietly deciding whether you will still be driving yourself to your own appointments 5 years from now, or whether someone else will be driving you. And here's the part that should frighten you. Almost no one over 75 knows it is even happening. It leaves no pain, no warning sign, no ache to send you to the doctor. By the time you finally feel it, the independence you spent a lifetime building can already be slipping through your fingers. The ability to walk into your own kitchen, to live on your own terms, in your own home, on your own schedule. I am a physician. For more than 20 years, I have sat across the desk from men and women between 75 and 85, and I have watched something the research is only now catching up to: the ones who age the best, who still garden, who still drive, who still remember every grandchild's birthday without a note stuck to the fridge. They are not the ones swallowing the most expensive supplements. They share 6 ordinary daily habits, just 6. And most people your age quietly gave them up years ago without ever being told what it would cost them. Before I go one step further, I want to hear from you. How old are you? Just type your age in the comments right now. 68, 74, 81. I read them. It helps me know exactly who I am talking to tonight. And stay with me all the way to the end, because the number one habit on this list has nothing to do with diet, nothing to do with exercise. Almost no doctor brings it up in a 7-minute visit. Researchers at Johns Hopkins called it one of the most overlooked longevity tools an aging adult has available without a single prescription. And I am saving it for last. Now, if part of you already feels behind, if some quiet voice inside you has decided that decline is simply the deal you signed by getting older, let me stop you there. It is not your fault. For decades, the message handed to seniors was 3 words: slow down, accept it. That advice did not come from bad doctors. It came from a broken system. A system that gives your doctor 7 minutes and no time to explain the why. Guidelines written 20 years ago using data from much younger patients. Nobody ever sat you down, so you were never told the truth until now. A landmark study out of the Stanford Center on Longevity followed more than 4,000 adults aged 70 to 90 for 12 years. And what they found was striking. Those who kept just 4 or more of these specific daily habits were 61% less likely to suffer what researchers call accelerated functional decline. That is the rapid loss of independence that sends so many seniors into assisted living years before they had to go. 61%. Read that number again, 61%. That is the difference between living your life on your own terms and living it on someone else's. So let me count down from number 6 to number 1. And I promise you, number 1 will change how you think about the years you have left. Here is what most doctors simply never have the time to explain. Number 6, drinking water strategically. Not casually, strategically. And I know how small that sounds. Stay with me, because the science behind it is anything but small. Most people believe hydration works the same at 75 as it did at 45. It does not. Not even close. After the age of 70, your kidneys lose close to 40% of their filtering power. Your thirst signal goes quiet. You genuinely stop feeling thirsty, even while your body is running dry. Think of your bloodstream like a river, carrying delivery trucks to every corner of your body. Oxygen, nutrients, repair crews. When that river runs low, the trucks slow to a crawl. Packages get lost, and the whole operation starts to break down. That is exactly what quiet, chronic dehydration does to an aging body. Research in the European Journal of Nutrition, following 3,500 adults over 70, found something remarkable. Those who stayed consistently hydrated had 38% fewer urinary tract infections, 29% fewer falls, because dehydration wrecks your balance and slows your reaction time, and measurably sharper short term memory. Your brain is roughly 75% water. Even a 2% drop causes real measurable fog. And after 75, that fog hits harder because your brain is already working overtime just to stay level. So here is the protocol: 12 to 16 ounces of water first thing in the morning, before coffee, before breakfast, before anything. You lose fluid all night through your breath. And after 75, that overnight deficit runs about 30% deeper than it did in midlife. Then a small glass with every meal, and one in the mid afternoon. Add 1 pinch of good sea salt or an electrolyte tablet to your morning water, because without a little sodium, plain water can run straight through you, never fully reaching the cells that need it. Now, I need to be crystal clear about this one. If you have congestive heart failure or kidney disease, do not increase your fluids on your own. For you, more water without medical guidance can be dangerous. Bring this to your doctor first. And if you take blood pressure medication and you start adding sodium, even a pinch, mention it to your doctor, because it can nudge your numbers. This is a conversation to have with them, not a change to make alone. I think of one patient, and I will be honest with you, she is a composite, a pattern I have seen dozens of times. A woman in her early 80s, afternoon, brain fog, dizzy when she stood up. She told me her thinking felt wrapped in cotton. She was not dramatically dehydrated, just quietly, chronically underhydrated. So I changed one thing: strategic water, timed right with a little morning sodium. Weeks later, she said it felt like someone had cleaned the windows of her mind. Now, her result was on the better end of what I usually see. Yours may be gentler, but the direction is the same for almost every person I treat. If you are someone who wants to understand the why, not just the what, then this next one is for you. Number 5, resistance-based movement, at least twice a week. And let me be clear, I am not talking about a gym. I am not talking about heavy weights. I am talking about any movement that asks a muscle to push against something. A stretchy band, a light dumbbell, a wall push-up, carrying your groceries with intention. Here is why it matters so much. After 75, there is a process called anabolic resistance. In plain terms, your aging muscles have gone a little deaf. They need a louder signal to respond. A 50-year-old keeps muscle with half the effort. Your muscles are not lazy. They are just harder to reach. And if you do not reach them regularly, they start to waste away. That is sarcopenia, the slow loss of muscle and strength. And the Mayo Clinic has linked it to a 47% higher risk of falls and a much higher chance of losing the ability to do simple daily tasks within 5 years. But here is the hopeful part. A study from Tufts University followed adults 75 to 85 who started resistance training twice a week after just 10 weeks. An average 37% jump in leg strength, 28% better balance. You are not only building muscle, you are rebuilding the power plants inside your cells. So the prescription is simple: 2 to 3 sessions a week, 20 to 30 minutes each. Focus on the big muscles, legs, hips, back. Resistance bands are ideal because they build strength without pounding your joints. And try to eat some protein within 30 minutes of finishing. More on that shortly. Now, one important caution: if you have a heart condition, uncontrolled blood pressure, or a recent surgery or stent, please talk to your doctor before you start. Begin light, and if you ever feel chest pressure, dizziness, or you cannot catch your breath, stop and call your doctor. Safe and slow beats fast and sorry every single time. And let me be honest with you about what the first few weeks actually feel like, because this is where most people quit. And I do not want that to be you. Week 1, Your muscles will be sore. You may feel a little clumsy with the band. That is normal. That soreness is not damage. It is the signal getting through. Push gently past it. Week 2, the soreness eases. You start to feel a little steadier standing from a chair. Small, but real. Week 3 is where it happens for most of my patients. That is when they call me a little surprised, saying the stairs feel easier, or they carried the laundry basket without stopping to rest. And by week 4 and beyond, the changes stop being a feeling and start being a fact. Real strength, better balance. Here is the truth most people never hear. The discomfort of that first week is not a sign you are failing. It is proof it is working. Most people quit on day 3. The ones who stay through week 3, they are the ones who get their independence back. Before I get to number 4, if this is helping you, do one small thing for me. Tap the like button, not for me. It tells this platform to show this video to another person over 75 who badly needs to hear it. That is the whole reason I make these. All right. Number 4, a consistent, purposeful sleep schedule. And this is far more than going to bed early. After 75, your internal clock weakens. Your brain makes roughly 70% less melatonin than it did at 30. And your deepest, most restorative sleep, the phase that physically repairs your body, can drop by up to 80% from your younger years. That is the exact window when your body releases the hormone that rebuilds tissue and guards your immune system. Miss it night after night, and the repairs simply do not get done. Think of deep sleep as the night shift crew that patches the building while you are gone. Skip enough nights, and the cracks start to spread. And here is what almost no one realizes. Poor sleep after 70 is not just about feeling tired. Researchers at the University of California, Berkeley, found that older adults with disrupted sleep showed 68% more of the brain plaques tied to Alzheimer's disease. 68%. Let that sink in. Your sleep is not rest. It is protection. So here is what the exceptional ones do. They do not just sleep more. They sleep consistently. Same 30-minute window every night. Same wake time every morning, weekends included. They keep the bedroom cool, between 65 and 68 degrees. Because after 75, your body struggles to cool itself down at night, and a cool room does that job for you. And they put the screens away 60 minutes before bed, not just because of the light, because the moment your mind starts scrolling, it fires up the thinking part of your brain. And research from Harvard Medical School shows that can delay sleep by close to 45 minutes in older adults. Then 10 minutes of slow belly breathing to switch the body into repair mode. That one simple habit lowers your stress hormones and makes deep sleep far easier to reach. Now, here's where most people stop paying attention, and that is a mistake, because the next 3 habits are the ones that actually rebuild what age has been taking. So do not drift off on me now. The best part is still ahead. One caution here too. If you snore heavily, or someone has told you that you stop breathing in your sleep, please do not try to fix that with breathing exercises alone. That can be sleep apnea, and it is serious. Ask your doctor for a sleep study. That one conversation can protect your heart and your memory both. Bear with me for 60 seconds, because what comes next overturns something you were probably taught your whole life. Number 3, eating protein in a deliberate, spread out pattern. And here is the myth I need to bury. The idea that you need less protein as you age. It is not just wrong. It may be one of the most harmful pieces of folklore ever handed down. The truth is the opposite. After 75, because your muscles have gone deaf to the signal, you actually need more protein per pound, not less, just to hold on to what you have. Think of protein as the bricks your body uses to rebuild itself every single night. While you sleep, your body tears down old damaged tissue and lays down new. Without enough bricks, the rebuild comes up short, night after night, month after month. And the structural debt piles up into something serious. Research in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, following over 2,000 adults aged 70 to 85, found that those eating enough protein spread across 3 or more meals kept far more muscle. They had 41% fewer hospital stays from fall injuries. and their immune systems fought off infection better. So aim for 25 to 35 grams of protein at each of your three main meals. That is roughly 4 to 5 ounces of chicken, fish, eggs, Greek yogurt, or beans. And spreading it out matters because your aging muscles can only use about 35 to 40 grams at one sitting. Beyond that, the rest is simply burned for fuel. Now, this matters. If you have advanced kidney disease, do not raise your protein on your own. For damaged kidneys, more protein can do harm, and your amount must be set by your doctor. This is not one size fits all. So bring the number to them. And let me make this simple because I know numbers can feel abstract. At breakfast, that is 2 or 3 eggs or a cup of Greek yogurt. At lunch, a palm-sized piece of chicken or fish or a bowl of lentils. At dinner, the same. That is it. You are not counting anything all day. You are just making sure protein shows up at every meal instead of a piece of toast in the morning and nothing until supper. That one shift, spreading it out, is what makes every gram actually count. I am reminded of another patient, and again, a composite of many. A man in his late 70s. His family thought he was just shrinking with age, losing weight. But it was not fat he was losing. It was muscle. His grip strength, a powerful predictor of how long you live, had dropped to the bottom of his age group. So I rebuilt his meals around steady protein. Weeks later, he had regained real lean strength. And he told me, with quiet pride, that he had carried every one of his own grocery bags in from the car for the first time in 2 years. His response was strong. Not every person climbs that fast, but the majority do see real, meaningful gains. I told you earlier that one of the top 2 would surprise you. This is the one. Number 2, daily, intentional, social connection. And I know how soft that sounds for a doctor to say. So let me be blunt. The science here is some of the hardest in all of aging research. A study from Brigham Young University, looking at more than 300,000 adults, found that deep social isolation carries a death risk equal to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Let me say that again. Being chronically lonely is as dangerous to your life as smoking 15 cigarettes every single day. For adults over 75, loneliness speeds up mental decline dramatically and raises the inflammation in your blood that quietly damages your heart and your brain. Here is why. Real conversation, genuine connection, not the television playing in the background, triggers a flood of chemistry that calms stress and keeps your neural pathways dense and alive. Think of your social brain like a muscle. The circuits that fire during real laughter, real disagreement, real connection are the very same circuits that hold your memory and your sense of self. Let them go quiet for weeks and they begin to prune away, like branches falling off an untended tree. So the prescription, at least one meaningful in-person connection every single day. A phone call counts if you are truly engaged in it. A church group, a walking partner, lunch with a neighbor. What does not count is sitting silently in the same room as a TV. You have to be thinking, answering, laughing. That engagement is the exercise. And here is a way to double the benefit. Whenever you can, put the two together. Walk with a friend instead of alone. Join a gentle exercise class with other people in the room. Garden alongside a neighbor. Research from the University of British Columbia found that connection and movement done together feed your brain far more than either one on its own. It is like watering 2 plants with 1 pass. So do not think of these 6 habits as 6 separate chores. Think of them as a web. Each one strengthens the others. I think of a woman who lost her husband of many decades and simply withdrew from the world. Within a year, she had slipped measurably. And she is a composite too. Of so many I have seen, I did not change a single medication. Instead, I built her a schedule, a weekly book club, a daily phone call, a twice-weekly shift volunteering at her library. Months later, her scores had climbed back toward where she started. Her family said she seemed like herself again. And I have to say this gently but clearly. If grief or loneliness has tipped into something heavier, if the sadness will not lift, please do not white knuckle it alone. Depression in older adults is real, it is medical, and it deserves real care. Reach out to your doctor or someone you trust. These habits support your mind. They do not replace that. Help when you need it. And now, number one, the habit that fewer than 1 in 8 adults over 75 keeps consistently, the one Johns Hopkins researchers call the most underused longevity tool available without a prescription. And it is not crossword puzzles. It is not passive reading. It is something more demanding. The daily practice of learning something genuinely new, a skill, a language, an instrument, something that forces your brain into what I call productive discomfort. Here is why this sits at number one. After 75, your brain starts to prefer the roads it already knows. It gets brilliant at the familiar and stubbornly reluctant to build anything new. That is not a flaw. It is your brain conserving fuel. But it is also how something called cognitive reserve drains away. Cognitive reserve is your brain's buffer, its ability to take damage and keep working anyway. Picture it like a savings account you can draw on when age withdraws a little each year. The bigger the account, the longer you stay sharp. Research from the University of Edinburgh, following adults from their 70s into their late 80s, found that those who took on new, challenging mental work for at least 30 minutes a day showed 47% slower brain shrinkage on scans and were far less likely to receive a dementia diagnosis over the following decade. A separate project out of Rush University found that seniors who described their days as truly engaging had brain function equal to adults 10 years younger. 10 years younger. And separate work through the American Academy of Neurology found that learning a new language can push back the onset of dementia by an average of 4.5 years. 4.5 years. Because your brain's ability to rewire itself never fully disappears. It fades, but it never dies. And new learning is the spark that keeps it alive. So here is the protocol. Pick one genuinely new skill every 3 to 4 months. Spend 20 to 30 minutes a day actively working at it. And the key word is actively. Watching someone play guitar online is not learning guitar. Sitting with the instrument in your hands, fumbling through a chord, frustrated, that struggle is exactly where the benefit lives. Learning a language lights up 5 different regions of your brain at once. Learning an instrument ties together your hands, your ears, and your memory in a way nothing else does. Even learning to cook a brand new dish counts because it asks you to read, sequence, and pay close attention all at the same time. It is resistance training for your mind. The difficulty is the point. Pair it with omega-3 fats, the kind called DHA, found in salmon, sardines, and mackerel. It is the building material of your brain cells, and it helps your brain absorb the benefit of everything you are learning. One caution, though, if you take a blood thinner like warfarin, high-dose fish oil can raise your bleeding risk. Do not start a strong supplement without telling your doctor. Getting it from food is the safest place to begin. And this brings me back to a man I mentioned nowhere yet, but have carried in mind this whole time. A composite, like the others, a retired engineer who spent his first years of retirement doing almost nothing that truly challenged him. He came to me worried, forgetting names, losing the thread of conversations. His scans were fine for his age, but his mental reserve was thinner than I wanted. I gave him one prescription, pick something he had always wanted to learn. He chose oil painting, something he had never touched in his life. And he was terrible at it. He will tell you that himself. But a year and a half later, he had finished dozens of paintings. He had joined a local art group, which quietly handled habit number 2 at the same time. And his follow-up testing showed improvement, not just holding steady improvement. At 79, every study I mentioned tonight is listed in the description below. Print them, bring them to your doctor. A good doctor will welcome that conversation. So let me pull it all together for you quickly, one more time. Number 6, drink your water strategically. 16 ounces on waking, a pinch of salt before the coffee. Number 5, move against resistance. A band twice a week and push through that first sore week. Number 4, sleep on a schedule in a cool room, screens off an hour before. Number 3, spread your protein, 25 to 35 grams, 3 meals every day. Number 2, reach for a real person every single day. And number 1, learn something brand new and let yourself be bad at it. 6 habits. That is the whole map. and not one of them requires money, a prescription, or permission from anyone. So let me close from the heart, because I have sat with enough people in their late 70s and 80s to know this stretch of life is too often treated like a countdown. It is not. Everything I shared with you tonight points to one stubborn, beautiful truth: the body and mind at 75, at 80, at 85 still hold a remarkable power to rebuild, not against age, in partnership with it. 6 habits: strategic water, resistance movement, consistent sleep, steady protein, real human connection, and the daily courage to learn something new. None of them turn back the clock. That is not the goal. The goal is to make the most of every hour the clock still has, to carry your own groceries, to remember the names of the people you love, to laugh until your eyes water at a dinner table with someone who matters. That is what independence looks like. And I have watched it come back to life in people who were told there was nothing left to fix. So hear me, it is never, ever too late to begin. And the fact that you stayed with me this long tells me you are already ahead of most. If you made it all the way here, type the words "I finished" in the comments, and then do one more thing. Send this to one person by name: your husband, your sister, the neighbor across the street who lives alone. Not tomorrow, today. Because next time, I am going to tell you about one thing you very likely do every single morning, a habit you believe is perfectly healthy. That may be quietly undoing part of everything you just learned. That one surprised even me. So I will see you in the next one. And until then, take good care of yourself, because you are worth every bit of the effort